what we're doing here. I wanted to rant a little bit on a subject I think I've touched on lightly. It's going to sound stupid, but this is going to be called Small Town Rant, because that's what I'm ranting about, is freaking small towns. Before I moved up here, I was in, well, technically I was in Connecticut, Groton, Connecticut, which is, God, if there's any shithole to be found, it's Groton, Connecticut. That place, you know what, if you were born and raised in Groton and you have some kind of weird Groton pride, fuck you, because that place is terrible. Jesus, could we go any slower? And anyway, before I joined the military, I was in Texas, because everything is bigger in Texas. And I lived in San Antonio, Texas, which has a population of about 1.4 million people, I want to say. Yeah, easy, 1.4 million people. And, you know, to me, that was always normal. You know, even there we had smaller in-between towns. We had towns that were like engulfed in the town. Like if you went to like Leon Valley, it's still technically part of San Antonio, even though at the same time it's technically not. It's like a huge, I guess, metropolitan area. I don't know what you'd call it. It's just fucking huge. Like if I were to drive 20 miles in one direction, I would still be in San Antonio. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because of the way traffic and everything works in that. See, where I am now in Connecticut, or not in Connecticut anymore, in Washington, everything's small. The city I'm going towards, Silverdale, I don't even know how many people live in Silverdale. It's a pissant amount, I know that. I know Poulsbo has like 16,000. Which means Silverdale can't have more than maybe 12,000, because I'm pretty sure Silverdale is smaller than Poulsbo is. And then even if you go past that and you go to Bremerton, I'm pretty sure even less people live there. And it creates so much separation that it's annoying. He's like, I'm not against driving on the highway all the time. I love driving on the highway. It's just, it makes things so dull. And I guess the way you could look at it is like if you watch any of my moto vlogs and stuff, and you see me on a freeway, it's just me going straight for a long time with a lot of trees. And then if you watch somebody else, like even if you watch like Yumi R6, he's in more of a city urban area. And the only way I can get to that is if I go to one of these cities. And even if I went to one of these cities, like I'm about to get to Silverdale, which has been the backdrop for most of my vlogging, because it's the closest little city area I can get to. Even coming here, it's still tiny. I mean, I'm going to get to the other side of this city without even, opening my throttle. I'll be to the other side of the city usually. Which again, I'm not against small towns and stuff like that. It's not what I'm used to. It comes off, it's bothersome. It bothers me, alright? And obviously there's different things to be found in the different areas and whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of nice parks and nature and whatnot out here. In San Antonio, you had a whole bunch of clubs and industry, and the comparison I like to make out here to any city, the great Walmart comparison, because obviously, big fan of Walmart. Maybe I get them to sponsor me. But in San Antonio, I want to say where I used to live in my apartment, I lived across the street from a Walmart. If I drove for 5 minutes in one direction, I was at a second Walmart. If I chose a different road and went 5 minutes that way, I was at a third Walmart. And before I left, in between those three Walmarts, they built another Walmart. I don't know if maybe Walmart's just taking over San Antonio, because there's just so many of them there. But the point I'm trying to make is, there isn't, well, at least I don't think there's a Walmart in Silverdale. There's one technically in Poulsbo. It's really not in Poulsbo, it's just kind of there. And then there's one that's just kind of in this backlog area. Unless the one down here is technically part of Silverdale. Either way, there's only two. within like 40 miles of everything out here, there's only 2. This dude's in a rush. And my Walmart density is just so low, it makes me sad. And I like my Walmarts. This is gonna be fucking a Walmart, you know, an ode to Walmart, but 2 Walmarts in a 40-mile range, some people might like that, but I am not one of those people. I could have swore I just heard that Velcro rip. It didn't. I was hearing things. And it's like, you can even see it's trees. It's just trees for miles. And yesterday I took a wrong turn and ended up taking a 3-hour freaking detour around 2 other cities. And that just goes back to, though, I guess that's the take back from that, is that I could drive for 10 minutes out here and I'll be in a different city. If you're in Texas and you leave a city and you drive for 10 minutes, you're 10 minutes away from that city and probably 3 hours away from the next one. But when you get to the cities, they're pretty freaking huge. They're giant cities, which is what I prefer. I need my city. I need my interaction with cagers to be more than just passing them on the freeway, which sounds backwards, but when you really think about it, it's not. I mean, how do you stay on top of your game, if you're not constantly interacting, if you're not practicing, you know, avoiding getting hit and avoiding stupid people? I haven't seen too many stupid drivers out here, but they're still here. Like this lady who's smoking here, who I'm stopping for. And there's not a whole lot of things here. The malls here are terrible. Terrible malls. Again, I guess that's a different culture type thing, but they're still horrible by, I have to say, any regard or comparison to a mall. Mickleberry Road. The infamous. I wonder what happens if I go straight. And another, I guess I can make another comparison with the cities, is in San Antonio, we used to have, I want to say 4 Air Force bases. I'd say maybe 4. I don't know if it's actually 4. I think it's like 3 or 2 now. But, you know, that was all in one city. Then I come out here and there are 3 bases technically. I mean, there's Bremerton, Bangor, Keyport, and then there's like McCord Air Force Base, Fort Lewis. It might be another fort somewhere, another fart somewhere around here. I don't know where that's at though. And, you know, they're all within a distance. They're still not as close as it was in San Antonio. And there's like no downtown to speak of out here. You know, downtown is when you go, what would you say? I guess the city center, and you have skyscrapers and, you know, skyline and whatnot. And again, I'm pretty sure people who have lived out here for a while are going to be like, well, you could just go to Seattle. And like, you say it that way, but going to Seattle, even from here, is still a bit of an undertaking. It's not just like I can just go to Seattle. I got to take the ferry, which could end up taking me an hour or so just to wait for the ferry, or I could drive there, which is going to take me an hour or so to drive there. It's kind of a hit and miss on that, isn't it? Oh, a miss and a miss. So just small towns in general. I fucking hate small towns. And, you know, you might not. Maybe I'll lose some people on that, but it's just something I'm not used to, and I doubt I'll ever get used to it. Fucking small towns.